Hey, I'm excited and grateful to have the opportunity to sit with my friend today, Victoria Rose. Victoria, how you feeling?
Hey girl, I am doing well. Doing well. How are you?
Good. I'm doing well also. It's always a treat for me to get to chat with my friends who are also incredibly awesome and have all this information and knowledge to share with us. So thank you for sitting with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
I think let's get right into it. So I met you, I want to say the year was 2014. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was for a Disney special event, Harambe Nights, Lion King's Concert in the Wild, that long title. It was the 20th anniversary celebration of the Lion King. And it was a good time. So we met as dancers for this particular event. But I just want you to kind of go back to that year in general and let us know what all was going on with you, because this was like something on top of something on top of something I know that you had going on in your life. So kind of share that, and that will give us a little view and peek into the life of Victoria.
Well, to even give you some type of clue, when I got on that show and I entered my first rehearsal with you guys, I don't know if you noticed this, but I walked in and I was like, I think I'm in the wrong room.
Oh,
Because I thought I was in the wrong room because I'm like, this can't be what Disney hired me for. The reason I said that is because so many years prior to that, I had been auditioning for different equity roles at Disney, and I knew I wasn't tall enough. But at this point, I'm like, if these auditions are free, I'll be back.
yeah.
I'll be back. So a couple of times I've always auditioned like over and over for different roles, and I would make it all the way to the end because I'm technically trained, so I'm pretty decent at dancing, so I can keep up. You
Right.
just give me a shot.
Exactly.
So they'll be like, no, not at this time, and I'm like, okay, I'll see you next week.
Right.
So it's so crazy because I actually took a break from auditioning for a while because I had magic going on. So I danced for the Orlando Magic for 10 years. At that point, I was dancing there for like five five years at that point. And I just had more going on, so I'm like, yeah, Disney ain't gonna give me no chance. It's okay, it's fine. But maybe I'll audition another time.
Right.
Next thing you know, I get a call from, I think it was one of our show directors. It was one of them. I think it could have been Marsha and Katrina. They
Right.
both gave me a call about this opportunity, and Darla also gave me a call about the opportunity. And they were just like, "Hey, we think you'd be perfect for this role." And Warren Adams saw your tape, and I'm just like, see, going to those auditions weren't for nothing this
Because
whole time.
exactly. So just to give everyone like a little insight into what that is, Disney keeps you on file if and when you make it through the audition process, or they're recording regardless, like, throughout your auditioning process. And you never know when people go on slide the tape to someone else, or when something else you are suitable for that they feel like, yeah, let's bring them in. So
Yeah,
yeah.
girl, I ain't never thought they was gonna pick me because one, I had a lot of things going against me. One, I was short, and two, I was black. So there was that. And I'm not like just yellow. I'm like I'm a little chocolate. So you don't see too many. You don't see as many like representations of me. Even when I auditioned to be the Black Fairy, they were just like, "You look exactly like her, but we don't want you to take the shine off Tinkerbell because you're too short." So I was like, I don't even qualify to be a fairy at this place, and I know I'm short. Okay, so for them to even give me that opportunity, I was just like, yo, this is a prime example of something that I always told my students, or something that I've always told the girls that I've mentored throughout the years. Like 1,000 no's that you get can lead to your one big yes. So I was just like, dang, all of those no's that I got, it took all of those no's in that video footage for Warren to see that, hey, yo, let's give this chick a shot.
Right.
So
And his are the eyes of now Tony Award winning, producer's eyes, who, I mean, is a choreographer and a former dancer himself, just so everyone has like a little background of who Warren Adams is as well. So, yeah. And you saying that, it just feels like a not to be, at Disney, a magical experience kind of all around. It was cool to be a part of, and to have the choreographer, the show director, the dancers, the singers, the actors and actresses who came to perform and be the narrators to all look like us. But anyway, I digress. Just to give people like the full impact of what that show was. You had that going on. You had magic going on. You had a full-time job going on. Like
several jobs.
how are you juggling this, or what was it like then? What was that year like for you, or that time?
My goodness. To be honest, I couldn't even complain that year because that was the year of many blessings for me. You know, not only did I book like 2 different types of commercials that year, like I was in a Bud Light commercial, and that I was getting checks from that, and then all of a sudden this opportunity with Disney happens. I'm getting that. Then I'm on Magic. Then I ended up getting my first office job. It was so much going on. And I was also a server. Like I had 6 jobs. I don't get tired. For real. So I don't know. I was much younger then too. I didn't think about it. I think the only thing that kind of kept me organized, I can say, is having a planner. I couldn't do my phone as a planner. I had to like
Write
see
it down.
everything. I don't see how everyone can use their phones. My phone goes dead. It would be a wrap for me because my whole life would be in it. But you know, at least I'll have like a book or something that I can just see.
I agree. I'm the same way. I have to write it down. Call it old school or whatever these days with all the technology, but I know if I write it down, then it's on me to just keep up with it. So I go to the extent of, I think I have like 2, like a pocket planner, and then I have one that sits at home. So I'm like, somewhere, wherever I am, I should know I should know what's happening in my life. Watching you, shows, rehearsals were long and tiresome. That show, it had to be good. It was that special. It was that much money and work put into it. Literal blood, sweat, and tears, I think, for all of us, some way, somehow. Like, we experienced all those things. But working late, going to rehearsals, getting called in for things, extra things, plus having everything else you did going on, but still having a smile on your face was helpful in ways in which I probably have never even like expressed to you. But that goes a long way, especially when you're working with, people. You have castmates that you're interacting with day after day. I think it's important to recognize the people who do that for you. I think, you got people who make you laugh, people who, just like gonna be there to listen to you, to whatever else, but I feel like you encompass kind of like all those things. So just want you to know that also.
Well, shoot, I thought the same thing about you too. I'm like, shoot, she got her stuff together. I need to go ahead and get my life together. The pressure was on, and the fact that I was a swing, so I had to know all of this, everything. So I'm like, these people are just so talented. I could sit here and watch you all day. I mean, and the thing is, she's like talking like she was just like some random castmate. This chick was Nala, okay? She was the whole Nala, okay? With the I don't know when and the thing was, it was just like when they selected you for that role, I was like, wow. And just seeing your work ethic and how you just dive deep into character like that, I'm like, I need to do my homework. I need to learn because this is greatness.
I appreciate it. Don't make me cry. That was like a dream role, gig, however it was gonna come. And when it did, I don't know, just kind of like an out of body experience. But I'm glad I got to share that with you and y'all, and I appreciate it because that means a lot coming from you as well. So, talking about greatness, you were a magic dancer, so NBA dancer for 10 years, and I don't mean like from even just knowing you for probably 5 of those years-ish, I guess. Seeing or like leading up to auditions, everything else you had going on amidst that, working, you choreographed for the team. You were traveling with the team. You became an all-star dancer as well. Give me some of the highlights of your career as an NBA dancer, and kind of tell me what that experience was like.
I would have to say Magic was also like a big yes for me too, because I also tried out for them my first time, and I didn't make it. I made it to finals. Yeah, the first time I tried out for Magic, I made it to finals, but I did not make the team. And I was like, at first I was like down about it. I'm like, I just suck at dancing. Like, I just, so, my mom was like, okay, you can feel sorry for yourself for a little bit. They was being sympathetic to me, but then something just clicked and I was just like, not so. And it's just like, okay, you want this? I'm just gonna go harder and harder. And it's just like, I didn't realize that I was doing like that typical, like the Black girl thing where it's just like, I need to work harder than most. I have to do extra, which I did all of that. And behold, I ended up making it. But I'm so thankful for that experience, because just making the team alone was a highlight for me, because I knew that I really worked my butt off for it. So I'm like, okay, now I have to make sure I maintain it. So like I didn't even realize the easy part was getting the job, of maintaining it. I definitely had my fair share of ups and downs. Like, girl, there was a point in time I didn't think I was gonna make it back after my first year. Like, ooh. They wanted like fresh, they wanted new, and they were building a new arena. So keep in mind, I danced at the old and new arena. So before the new arena was built, I was dancing.
There you go.
And they cut 5 veterans going into my second year. So 5 veterans got cut, and it was like a whole new squad, and it was only me and another rookie that made it back.
Wow. Yeah.
So it was just like, oh my gosh. And then, from that point on, I was determined to, make sure they didn't regret picking me. Because I'm like, okay, if you're going to pick me, I'm probably going to be the best teammate you ever seen. I'm going to be the best. Like, I think that's what even got me to the point that I even was able to get to a position of leadership. Because I was a good teammate. Like, I can fall back. I can take the lead if you need me to, but I'm going to do each job confidently. You can stick me in the back, I'm going to kill it. You can stick me in the front, you can stick me in the middle. I'm going to kill it either way. I'm going to get it. Like, that's the number one phrase I would get. If I didn't have the dance that night, the number one thing they would hear me say is, I'm going to get it.
Right.
Get it. I'm mad right now, but I'm going to get it. So those...
Right.
Yeah, like those rehearsal nights were always like a kind of a highlight, because it was like my struggle growing as a young dancer and a young adult. So I basically grew up on Magic. All of my 20s was in Magic. And another highlight would have to be the 2 All-Star games I got to do. Like, who can say they got to see Chris Brown like bust his behind during rehearsals? That was a highlight for me, because I said, wow. I was like, wow, Chris Brown is so amazing, and even he falls. I feel so much better. I feel good.
I can do whatever. I got it. Thank you.
Yeah, like at first I thought, this man is a freak of nature. He can do everything. And then he busts his butt. I definitely laughed. But just being able to experience like something like that, and then the NBA also selected me as one of the dancers to represent the Orlando Magic at the All-Star in 2016 in Toronto.
Yes.
I was very excited about that. I'm like, what? Y'all chose me? All right, bet. Like, y'all gonna see me. Y'all about to see me, okay? And guess what? Like, and the thing is, that was probably one of the most difficult experiences, because we had to learn everything by video, and we had to have it when we got there. And keep in mind, we had games in between those times. So we're learning this while we still have to learn brand new routines for the games that we're doing at home.
And while you still are at home having a full-time job and other things going on as well.
Yes.
Talk about work ethic and having to be, focused and really on it. Like that, that speaks volumes of your work ethic. And because, again, like knowing they chose you, having it, going into it with an attitude like that is everything. Because most of the time, people think it's just like solely dancing and get people somewhere. But you can definitely see the difference between you got this because you're just technically proficient at however, and then the person who is like, it's something else here, and this is why you're getting the job. Like, because you gotta be a full package, you know what I mean? Like, nobody wants a lazy, awesome dancer. Like, I mean, or maybe they do. I don't know. I don't. But
They don't want it.
but yes, so that's amazing. And then not only do people, okay, so you not only do you get to be an all-star dancer, like, but twice, even once, is huge. You know what I mean? Because there are plenty of NBA dancers who have that role or who dance on teams, have been there for a long time, who don't get those opportunities, like even the first time. So that's incredible. You are incredible, and I enjoy seeing all of that for you. Now speak to a little bit, I think, of choreography, because when I watch your choreography, whereas there are patterns, the intricacies, the music, kind of give me, if you will, how you even get there. So how you even get to being able to choreograph for your team, as well as how you come up with it. Are they telling you this is kind of what we're looking for, or is this like, no, this is just Victoria? Because a lot of it, I'm like, oh no, that was Victoria. So tell me how that goes.
It's so weird that you say that, because I don't, like, you know, everyone is very hard and a tough critic when it comes to their own work. So it's just like a lot of my routines that I would see, I'm like, oh, was that too basic, or was that fun enough? Like, are people getting something different? My goal going into it, I didn't start choreographing for the team until my second year on the team. And I was like, okay, I kind of want to do something different with them, because we always do, you know, like some jazz, and we do the typical hip hop where it's cool, but like, I kind of want to throw some culture in there. If that's like strange, like I wanted to throw some culture, but not only like just some culture, but like a little bit of blackness, some African, because I grew up doing African dance. So it's just like, that was my first love. So at first I was going to do like an African routine, but I was like, no, I don't think they're ready for that this year. It's only my second year, but I'm going to do some old school booty. Yeah. So after that, I like got up the nerve to tell Janine, who was my coach at the time. I was telling her, I'm like, hey, Janine, I think I might be interested in choreographing for the team next year, if you'll allow it. I know it's only my second year. She's just like, of course, we're always looking for, you know, team contributions, you know, like just go for it. And I was like, all right, that was probably one of my hardest routines, because it was so fast. It was so fast, and like it was only like a minute and 15 seconds long, so you had to jam pack everything you could, formations, tricks. So I always came at it from an angle of like, okay, I want to plan the feeling of it. Like, how do I want the people to react when they see this? I want them to have like that, oh, that's different. Right. So that's kind of how I go into choreographing. Now, when it comes to like making up the steps in the routine, I'm going to be really honest with you. There's probably only one step in the routine that I had previously dreamed of. Right. And that's it. Anytime I was teaching off the dome. Yeah, that's how I teach, because I have to vibe with it. Like, I have to see it on your body. Yeah. So, and the thing is, I always taught it that way. Like, I'll just show the step from my dream. And I'll be like, hey, let me see if y'all can get this step real quick. I'm gonna show you this step. And y'all tell me if you can do it. Right. The minute they show me they can do it, it's like my imagination goes wild. Like, oh my God, this is what I want. Right. No, I get it. I do get that. I say wow and I pause like that because I just feel like if I could insert here, here's a clip of one of those dances, I feel like people would go wow also. And it's cool to learn and to get to ask you these questions after having seen it, because you know, choreographing things myself, I think everyone has their own different little nuances and different approaches, and that's always unique to see. And I feel like that's how we learn and grow, you know, from those things and experiences and people who are willing to share. So that just having that perspective is cool, because it's good. And I mean, you got to realize people are viewing this from all angles, front, back, sides, above, like right in front of them, like all different perspectives. So you're filling a space that's just, you know, that's enormous. Because I mean, even at Disney stages, for instance, you have them in the castle stages, you know, whatever, it's iconic and it's there.
but not too, I mean, but you're still projecting seemingly like in front of you and to the sides. And of course, you always want to have movement in a way that you're giving off that energy on all sides of you, but ain't nobody but the tech people really back here kind of seeing what's going on. So I just have always thought that that was, you know, just really unique and wonder, you know, kind of how you approached it and stuff. That's cool. Because you've done a number of dances, I think, from that point. So if that's year 2, and then you know you went 10, you were choreographing probably like every year since then, right? Yeah. So did you get nervous? Like, did you get nervous? I know you just expressed that, but like even performing or singing or saying, oh, tonight I'm, you know, this is my work that's going out there. Was any of that ever like kind of nerve-wracking?
Absolutely, because you don't know how the crowd is going to receive you. And I know that I can be a little bit out there when it comes to like some of my choreography. Like I be risking it a little bit. Like I will push the envelope and it'll be just enough so I won't get in trouble, but it's just enough to be like, all right, we can reel it back in. So I can say one of the routines that I got, I can say 2 routines, was my first African routine, because I didn't know how the fans were going to react to it. I made everybody's tops, and I chose a bottom. Like she allowed me to put the costume together. I made them dance barefoot, and I was like, I don't know how they're going to receive this, but I really want them to see like this is what I grew up doing. I love this, and it got probably one of the best reactions out of some of my dances that I've done, because they were just like, what? Y'all culture? Okay. Right. And then the second one ended up on HBO.
Yeah. Doing it, just give it all to us. And I remember, like, as you're speaking, I know exactly what you're talking about, like what dance that was. And that, you know, it just puts you in so many different places, so many different circles, but you utilizing your talents to the fullest is like very evident. Moving into some of the other things you've done, you can pick from here, maybe even. So Predators, you've worked with that team, choreographically as well as emceeing. You had your own studio as well. I mean, you did the commercials. I mean, I know you're still out here working, like video work, whatever. Yeah. I guess we just go in that order. Tell me about Predators, what that experience is like, how you even get the opportunity to work with that team.
How I landed that job with the Predators, some years ago on Magic, I was the co-MC. I was one of the co-MCs for the Magic games. So you would catch me hosting the games, and one of my friends, I worked with her on a couple of projects beforehand, and she was just like, hey, we could really use you as a guest MC for some of the Predator games. Are you interested? A lot of people, they're looking for coverage for one of our MCs, and we just really need a person, and I know you can do that. And I'm like, okay, bet. I'll just come and fill in. Next thing you know, I was filling in a lot more often because they were just like, oh, we like her. She's fun. So they started bringing me back. And then as far as the Predator dancers, one of the young ladies, she was a coach for the team. She was a new coach for the team, and she was a former dancer on the team as well, and she took over as a coach. And she reached out to me and asked if I could be their official choreographer, and I was like, whoa, this is an honor. And it's kind of cool because I got to share that moment with my sister, because that was my sister's first year as on a professional dance team. So I got to choreograph the year she made it on that dance team. So it was kind of like a really cool moment. And then I was still co-MCing some of the games. So it was nice for someone to think that highly of me and to trust me with their team.
Right. And I mean, but again, rightfully so, because they've seen you, they've seen the work you put in, they know how you present yourself, the consistency is there, I'm certain, because I've seen it. And so it's a nod to how like doors can be open, you know what I mean, if you just stay the course, because you talked about how, we get those no's, but it's leading up to something good, and then how just kind of blast off happens, for you. So that's phenomenal. All right, so now tell me about the inception of your dance studio. Was that, if it was a dream of yours, or how did this kind of manifest? Because you just like as I'm talking, I'm just thinking about everything we've already talked about you doing, and here is yet another huge venture, and
Mhm.
you did it amidst the full time job as well as magic, right?
Yeah.
Give me a little insight regarding that.
I would have to say, uh, I've always wanted to own a studio eventually, and I thought about that more and more as I was on Magic, but I didn't think that it was something that would be possible until like years down the road, until I like retired for good from dance, just in general, just retired. Next thing you know, my mom actually came up with the opportunity. She found like something and she's like, I think if you don't jump on this, and my mom is the business savvy person of us, and she's just like, you should just go for it. And so it's my mom, myself, and my sister. We all just kind of came together, and we got the dance studio here in Orlando. I just closed it last year, which wasn't a sad moment for me at all. I just wanted the opportunity to pursue other things, and we still had a dance studio in Georgia. So we opened up a dance studio in Georgia, like probably a year after we opened up the studio here in Orlando. So yes, I was making Georgia trips too. Oh my gosh, yeah, all of that was going on. So we opened up the studio in a small town of in Georgia where my mother grew up, and it's not that many dance studios there. It was only like one dance studio there. It was rare to see a black dance studio, and to have the representation that we had, like the what is it? Not the reputation. So to have the reputation that I had, we kind of utilized that to kind of propel it forward. And then on top of that, that was also my sister's first year as a predator dancer, so we got to utilize both of us to kind of get it popping. And then it's very rare to see like somebody that looks like you doing something like that. So the kids were just like very excited to have something to do, because it's so small. It has one movie theater, a Walmart. It doesn't have a mall. Like there's nothing big going on. So we ended up getting this building, and we're also the first black owners in that square. So we're the first people of color to own something on that particular square. So it was kind of like a historical moment too. So it just kind of all fell into place somehow. God.
There you go.
God.
That's it. And I mean, y'all having faith and seeing it through and keeping it going. That's incredible. Do you miss magic in particular? Or I guess that whole sense of, like I'm dancing professionally, going hard at it like every day. Do you miss that at this point?
Sometimes I do, and a lot of times I'm just like, you know what? I'm getting older and I want the next person to experience something like this. So, I mean, my 10th and final year, I knew that was my last year, okay?
Right.
I knew that was the last year I was going to go to them boot camps because they hurt.
Yeah.
And magic was my life for so long. I just kind of wanted a life outside of magic for once. And I'm glad I retired, even though I miss a lot of things about it. It was amazing. Like I had the best time. I had the time of my life on magic. But it's at some point you do need to move forward and just kind of grow. And I wanted the opportunity to grow and experience a little bit more life. So yeah.
And I get it. I understand, especially when there are specific. Because let me say this also, you don't not dance now. You know what I mean? There's those things that held space probably in our lives for such a long period of time. It's something that, enjoying dance, being passionate about it, loving it, that it becomes almost, I feel like, a bittersweet kind of thing, to say, yeah, but again, just kind of knowing when my time is done and seeing we're moving on to something
and
else.
to feel okay about it.
Yes. And that's the big thing. So I get you. I definitely feel you on that. How do you keep dance going now? Like, how is dance still a part of your life? And how do you find ways to incorporate it into, what you do now?
I would have to say, for a while, I actually took a long break from dance, like some months, and that's a very long time for someone like me to like someone that's used to dancing every day of the week. And then it just got to a point I'm just like, okay, break time is over. I went to my first class in LA once because I was living up there for a little bit too. So I went to my first class up there, and I went there just as a release. I've never taken a class in LA before. I didn't know that it was a full-on production like that either. Like, they was serious. They had them cameras and stuff. I said, I just came to take class. You know, look, Sam, I'm not used to this. This is a lot of pressure. And that's how that one video got on my timeline with the whole split thing.
Yes.
So that was my first class just ever in months. I was like, wow, they was dressed to the nines, okay? They had their makeup. Everybody was in the front of the class. I was like, let me just get on the side. If I could just get to the side and see what's going on, I'm good.
Right.
And it ended up being a surprise class for me. I kind of surprised my all-star sister. So my all-star sister actually taught that class. She had no idea I was in LA. She had no idea, so I just popped up. I was like, "What's up, girl? Where's it?"
That's the best type of reunion. I'm sure she really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
that makes it better. So I mean, it's taking classes. It's still, if gigs and opportunities come about, you still take the time to do those if it works out for you, right? So
yeah,
dance is still there. Tell me what dance means to you. Overall.
Dance means, how can I put this? In every aspect of my life, good or bad, dance was always like that crutch. You know how they're like, oh, what you gonna fall back on? You know, like, do you have your degree? What you gonna fall back on? I'm like, nah, dance is my fallback because it kind of catches me when I feel like, you know, giving up. Cause like, whew. Sorry.
No, don't apologize. Don't apologize.
In LA, I gave up. And that was like the one place where, you know, everyone goes to make dreams come true. I wasn't going there for that. I was just there. I don't even know what I was doing there, girl. But, you know, to take that class, it was just like, almost like I've been revived, if that makes sense. So it's just like a breath of fresh air for me to just to move again, because like just moving your body is therapy, and it was the therapy that I didn't know I needed. I was like, ooh, you've been keeping a lot of stuff pent up, girlfriend. I'm gonna need for you to get back moving, and that's the only reason I got back.
That is a very real and very transparent sort of, I mean, you know, just offering that you just shared and that we were just able to experience. It does much more than just say like, oh, I'm just going to dance, I'm going to do some ballet, I'm going to, you know, twerk a little bit, I'm going to do this, like, to showcase it or to whatever for other people or to land a job or to be seen. You can see it and you know when it's so much deeper for people, you know, when it does so much more for people, mind, body, spirit, all of it connected. And that's what it does for me, and that's why it's so special, I think, to connect with people like you who, you know, you feel it and you know, and you have someone that can relate to you in that sense, because dance can truly become, like you said, when it's something I enjoy, something I also can fall back on or fall to. Flexing that creative muscle as well as being able to release in that way, because it's your voice when you're doing that choreography, you know, it's you speaking, it's you sharing your ideas, it's you giving insight into deeper spaces like of you. It's a very vulnerable thing also, and I don't know that very many people kind of recognize that sometimes. So yeah, I just, you know, I appreciate you sharing that part of your journey with us. Who inspires you? And
as far as like real life, I would have to say my mom, because child, like, had she not put me in those dance classes, girl, I would have no rhythm. Because she said I didn't have no rhythm as a child, and I believe her because there's some moments I catch myself and I'm like, ooh.
Is that why she put you in dance classes? Because she was like, oh, my baby.
Well, I don't even, she told me that, I mean, she wanted, I guess, of course, to keep me active. And, you know, I used to sing in the choir and all of this stuff. And she knew that I liked singing, but I don't know. She just was like, let me just get her active. So she put me in African dance. And I'm like, oh, and she realized that I had like some type of sparkle in my eye for it. And ever since then, it's just been, you know, she's been like my huge motivator in that aspect. So she's the one who she gets all the credit, child, for this rhythm.
Yes.
And I would have to say Misty Copeland. I grew up kind of like when I started ballet, because I started ballet at 13 as well. So I started really late, but I advanced fast. So I would see her in magazines and I'll see her in like television interviews and I'm like, wow, like, yo, she Black. So if she can make it, I can make it too. You know?
Yeah, because it's so important for everyone to see themselves, I think. Mm-hmm. It's not saying, oh, I want to be the next or be like, because I hope everyone wants to be the best version of themselves that they can be. But it's also very crucial to see yourself in whatever that maybe position is that you feel like that's what I want to, you know, kind of work my way towards. And it ignites something else within you to give you that extra push that you need. Like you say, when you get those no's, for you to be like, but I can do it. And if I just keep pushing, like, you know, I can do it. And you see yourself and know, you know, that it's possible and that you can make it to that point. So, yeah, I'm a fan of Missy Copeland as well. The overarching theme of your career, as far as dance is concerned, though, what's maybe been a highlight or a couple of highlights that you would like to share with us?
I would have to start with just like my beginnings. The first time I was introduced to like ballet, and jazz and hip hop. I got introduced to all that stuff at like the same time. So 13 is when I started hip hop, jazz, and ballet and all that stuff. And I danced at Orlando Ballet. A highlight moment for me there because, you know, I was like maybe one of yeah, I was the only Black girl in like one of my like classes when I had danced. One of the highlights was my first hip hop routine, and we got to perform it for a recital or whatever. And that was the first time that the studio director ever paid any attention to me. Like the first time he like laid eyes on me, and I'm like, dang, I've been here since like, you know, for about like a year now. Yeah. And I've always seen him in rehearsals. I was like in level 1, like the very beginning. After he spotted me, and I guess this kind of ties in. This is when I discovered that I had this is when I discovered the it factor. Like I've always had it, but this is when I discovered I truly did have the it factor. Was when the studio director, actually looked at me for the first time and was like, wow, you can really dance. And at that point, people used to be so scared when he would come to them in classes, like to correct them. But at the same time, they wanted him to come to them because that meant he saw you. Yeah. And from then on, that's when I started to grow as a dancer, just technically. And then like being the only Black girl chosen from the studio to go to a summer intensive program where I'm dancing like crazy, and the late great Fernando Vijones ends up recognizing me in a class, and I'm like, what? You recognize me in a point class? Like what? And the thing was, that's when he was over Orlando Ballet, but he just so happened to be in Atlanta as a guest teacher, and he spotted me and was like, I know you from somewhere. I'm like, I didn't think you would ever know me because you don't even come in my classes. Like what? So that was a highlight, just me recognizing my it factor. And other highlights, traveling the world. Woo, I got to go to a lot of places.
Yes, you have. Share some of the places that you've been able to travel.
Bilbao, Spain, Taichung, Taiwan, and another part of Taiwan, Manila, Philippines, Rome, Italy. It was so beautiful there. Wuhan, China, of all places. Before COVID. Before. So, BC.
Right.
So, Wuhan, China, Brazil, Sao Paulo, and another one, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Where else did I go? The Dominican Republic, Mexico City. Yeah, a lot of places.
Yeah, just a few, just a couple. That's
Just
all.
a little bit.
That would be a highlight. Some of it is a highlight, just me having lived vicariously through you. So yeah, I can only imagine. That's
Oh, in London, I saw Warren in London when I was there.
right.
That was random.
Just randomly see. So like that's wow. Yeah. Okay. That yeah. Just should have got in your suitcase. Just hop in your suitcase and
Just hop in, girl. Hop in. I'm still gonna travel now.
Look, it's necessary to just. I miss it. Anyway, speaking of that, and just thinking of everything with COVID and whatnot. How are you staying? Above water. I think because so many people, it's so much going on. It's just both heartbreaking and just saddening, and it's a blessing to be healthy. I'll say that. So I'm just grateful that we can sit here and do this. How have you found ways to kind of still, get through the day without letting it all weigh you down? I think.
To be honest, I feel like I was prepared for something like this. And the reason I say that is because like 2020 hasn't been my worst year. If anything, 2020 was a break from all of the bad years that I had before it. So I'm like, woo, everything shut down. Thank you, Lord. Like I needed a break.
Needed a time.
I needed a break. And then I would like to say I was probably quarantining before the quarantining even began, because I was in LA and it was really hard for me to kind of like get around. And I was like also at that turning point in life where I was just like at a standstill. I didn't know what I was going to do next, and I was already being still before we had to be still. So it didn't impact me as much. If anything, I feel like I think me learning and practicing like praying and just being thankful for everything that I have, if you lose everything, you appreciate, it makes you appreciate everything you have much more. So spending quality time with my family, and even though they get on my nerves, but it was fun.
Right.
Just sitting still. It's just something that was needed.
Yeah,
it was needed.
Mm-hmm. It is, and I find so many ways as well that it is, because often in what we do and thinking about it. So how long you've been away from magic? Is it been 2 years?
It's going on 2 years now.
So it's approaching 2 years, but you're still transitioning out of something that's been so much a part of your life in such a big way that sometimes it's just like those breaks come from outside sources. But taking advantage of the things like quality time and the stillness, I find to be really important, and that I hope coming on the other side of this, because I think it'll be a new normal regardless of kind of how it turns out, that we will prayerfully find those moments a little bit more and like on our own, instead of having to be faced with a pandemic. So what advice would you give to young dancers who specifically, I think, just coming from you, is dance is there and it's very important and it's special, and it can be something that you fulfill in your life in a number of ways, through choreography, through dancing, professionally, through dance classes. So many different opportunities are out there within this kind of career path. What advice would you give to a young dancer who maybe sees themselves or sees you, just like you said about Missy Copeland, but who looks at Victoria and is like, that's the type of kind of career that I hope to have? What advice would you give?
If you're a younger dancer and you're already pursuing dance, I would also say don't sleep on the fundamentals of dance, because you can actually utilize that for your real life. because had I not utilized the fundamentals of dance as far as like etiquette and stuff like that, and like just being a all around nice person and just genuinely like, trying to incorporating that into my everyday life. I think that's kind of what kept me grounded as a dancer, is just like looking at everything as, okay, this is an opportunity for you to learn, because dance is always evolving. You can't stay stagnant in dance. Just because you feel like you're great in this aspect, you ain't great in this one, so go ahead. Like, it just always work your muscle, and don't be complacent.
That's really good advice. And here's the thing, I do this, and I'm glad I've had the time to sit down and really kind of get some ideas out real time during this kind of whole break, so to speak, because it's important. I didn't have this growing up, especially as a Black dancer, and seeing people who look like me. It was that like try to grasp onto every article you can, or whenever they pop up on your television or whatever. And I don't even know, do we even have TV Guide? Anyway, it was just so much growing up that that dancers have access to now. So I would be inclined to say, still don't take for granted things like this, just because it's important. And I mean, it's what you've said, what you've shared, your experiences, and being open to delivering them, to people in this sort of platform is huge. I mean, what I would have given to have this, and how many things it would have helped me kind of work through, as well as like focus a little bit more on, or focus a little less on. It just gives you the full scope of what it's like to have a professional career, what it's like to get there, what it's like to maintain, what it's like coming out on the other side. So my only hope is that, I guess through these moments and through these things, that it will reach people and that they will understand. But more than anything, I appreciate people like you being willing to share and to sit down with me to discuss these things, because no matter how old I get, I've always said, like, I'm gonna be dancing. Y'all gonna see me with a cane, like still holding on, trying to do something. But yeah. I think it keeps, when it's in you and it's in your being like that, it keeps you healthy in ways that are more than just like a bodily sort of, whatever, I'm in shape. But it keeps your brain working, it keeps you sharp. I really do think dancers are some of the smartest people. And I don't know if people just think we say that because like we're doing it, but I mean, try to move, count, breathe, focus, get people, remember, choreography, like all the things
are tough. We're tough.
It is, and it's a lot. So it's just important to share, for those outside of this world and the realm of this as well. So thank you for taking the time to sit with me and to do this, because it's more than just to like, oh, I called up a friend, like it really means a lot. And I think it's important. I admire you. I admire the career you've had. And it's inspirational to even me, because I'm not out there right now, or even if I could be, because dance kind of shut down. But
nah, you out there in the videos.
But it's creating, and that's like, I'm gonna still always flex that muscle, and as much as I can. So it really inspires me, to keep pumping and to keep going. So I appreciate you and friendship and everything. So tell me, is there anything I missed, anything else you would like to share with our
audience? Whether you're a dancer or not, always just remain true to you. Don't get so lost in your discouragements that you lose sight of what you've already accomplished. Because like just this interview alone, I was like, oh my God, I'm crying, because it's just like you don't think about all of the things you accomplished, especially when you could be going through it, or you're just getting out of like going through it, or quarantine is a good example for a lot of dancers right now. It's just like you could be going through it. It's really hard getting jobs right now, and it's a struggle. So just that alone was like that aha moment for me. It's just like, don't forget where you came from. You're much stronger than you give yourself credit for.
And on that note, Victoria Rose, you are a gem, and I thank you and appreciate you for taking the time to sit with me. I'm going to leave her information. Follow her on IG. Victoria also has her own show, Catch This Live. So
Okay, I forgot.
live. So tell us before we go, like I do want you to share a little bit about that. What are you covering? You know, and who are you trying to reach?
Catch This Live is pretty much about pretty much catching anyone. I want to be able to reach the world through all things. I'm passionate about more things than just dance. I didn't realize this until I was older. I have a lot of talents in a lot of different areas. And I also have friends that are talented and who also have businesses, and I want to make sure I'm bringing them on as well. So it's a series of interactive lives that I do. I've had different speakers come on to talk about, just starting a business in a pandemic and how you can utilize your skills to make money. And I've also talked about platonic friendships with some of my best friends on there, and we're just pretty much giving our perspective as well as like hearing everyone else's, just giving somebody some just a little bit of light in this, I guess we can consider this transitional dark time.
Yes.
So that covers everything.
Right, there you go. There you go. So I love it. So tune in to that as well. You can find the information, like I said, on Victoria's IG page. I'm going to leave that along this video, as well as in any of my captions and descriptions to go along with this video. So support. She's out there. Follow her on TikTok, everywhere, because it's a good time. Young dancers, any dancer, whatever stage you're in, if you have questions or different things, I mean, hit her up, because it's valuable to have people who are willing to share their knowledge with you. She also has a YouTube channel that has a lot of good tidbits and information on there as well. So I'll leave that.
Victoria Rose Pro Dance. I totally forgot. I did that a while ago, but all of the information is still up. So it even talks about ways you can make the team, how to prepare for auditions. So you could also follow me on Facebook on Victoria Rose Pro Dance. So there's still a lot of good information in there, and some interviews with coaches on there. So if you wanted some, tips on how to get in the pro dance world, you can also go hit that up.
I love it. So we would have been on here forever, because I'm like, oh, we can break that down. I'm sure people will want to know, like, audition processes and so on and so forth. But she has compiled a ton of good content on all those channels. So I'll make sure to leave information for everything along with this video. And that's it for this Q&A with the pro. Victoria, thank you. I love you. And I look forward to chatting with you again.
Thank you.